Welcome to the Modern Titus to Women Unplugged podcast, where we dive fearlessly into the untold stories and struggles of women's lives. This is a space of authenticity where no topic is off limits. Each episode is a journey of discovery and empowerment, confronting challenges with honesty and vulnerability. From maintaining a home to healing from abuse, balancing motherhood with personal passions, and navigating single parenting, widowhood, divorce, and post-abortion heartbreak, we explore it all. With special guests offering wisdom and perspective, we uncover forgiveness and reignite love in marriage. Join us for soul-stirring conversations. Tune in. Your story matters.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, health, tax, professional advice. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from the use of this podcast. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the management. This podcast may contain adult themes, so parental discretion is advised. Welcome to the Modern Titus 2 Unplugged podcast. Our podcast is one where we fearlessly dive into the unspoken struggles that shape the lives of women today. As part of our mentoring role, we seek resources and support designed to help women thrive. We explore strategies for achieving optimal well-being and performance in every aspect of our life. Our guest today is Carrie-Ann McLean, who is the author of the transformative book, Budget Right. She's also a financial coach who has transformed her life from the depths of debt, addiction, and homelessness to a thriving existence of financial and mental well-being. So welcome, Carrie, welcome. So please and honored, would you mind telling our listeners where you're calling from?
Yes, I'm all the way from Australia. This is my very first interview with America, and I'm absolutely honored and thrilled to be here today. So thank you.
Right. So isn't technology a wonderful thing? You can be all the way in Australia there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I will make this good. Can you share that moment, that fork in the road that caused you to realize the need to change your financial habit? What happened?
A lot. So I was never taught how to manage money. So I didn't care about it. I lived for the moment, and I was constantly in debt. So I had a lot of struggles. I was homeless for a while, for a period of time, about 6 months, I think. And it was really crippling. I couldn't do the thing. Like I had friends that come out for lunch, and I'm like, I can't. It got to the point where I was selling furniture, jewelry, just to pay the bills. I'd use one credit card to pay another credit card, and it was a horrible circle that I was in, and I could not see a way out. And in my homelessness state, I realized that, I may have learned how to get out of debt previously, but I didn't deal with my mindset, which was keeping me in that negative money flow, so to speak. So it was really difficult to manage money and being really down and depressed and anxious about everything. So it wasn't just financially, it was mentally as well that I knew I needed to change.
So when you realized this, what was the first steps that you took to break free from the addiction and the debt? What were your first steps?
Yeah, the first thing was I had to take accountability. I had to acknowledge that I had a problem. I had to, even though I didn't learn about money, I couldn't blame other people for not teaching me. I'm an adult now. So I need to take responsibility, take accountability, and look for ways to get out of debt and my addictions. That's something you mentioned before. I didn't mention it, but I did have gambling and alcohol addictions as well, which didn't help the financial thing. So obviously seeking help, and because of my faith in Jesus, I really pressed in to godly wisdom from a multitude of people. I'd watch YouTube videos and everything like that on what they were saying about money. And I learned a lot along the way about spending habits, spending triggers, how to pay off your debt quicker. So the first thing really is to take accountability, own up to what the situation is, and seek help. And I've actually written my book to help others because I didn't have that available.
Right.
I found bits and pieces. I found information on money mindsets somewhere, and I found money triggers, spending triggers and fixes, how to put that in place in a different area. I found how to pay off debts quicker in a different area. So I've put it all together in one really easy to follow workbook. There's really simple.
So that was sort of the mindset change that played a role. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that you basically change your whole mindset in regard to
it does.
I really think that they should really teach in the school how to manage money, because a lot of people adults don't know to manage their money.
No, that's exactly right. We're at a young age. So when I was a teenager, and I was just starting to work, I was encouraged to get a car loan. You're told to get credit cards so you can improve your credit rating. But no one ever tells you how to manage that. It was all about debt spending, not about saving up and being patient and working it all out. So it has taken me a long time, a very long time. And hopefully through my book, I can help people avoid that long time stress of financial problems. Yeah.
Well, I'm originally from the Caribbean, and a lot of Caribbean people, when I came to United States, I understand this debt thing, because normally if we're gonna purchase a house, we save the money, and we have a big chunk and a very small mortgage. Some persons who live, generationally, persons might leave family land. You build a one bedroom, and then when you buy some more blocks and steel, and you build another bedroom, and by the time you finish, you have no debt. So it was a shock. It was a shock when I came in. Like, if you don't have debt and have to get credit, you don't value anything if you don't have credit over here. So it was cultural shock for me,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really hard because a lot of when I found myself homeless, so I wasn't sleeping on the street. There's a lot of what we call hidden homeless, where people are couch surfing or just staying with friends every now and then. So I was staying with friends who let me, have a bed. And I realized that a lot of the stuff that we class as necessities are really not. All you need is, food, water, and a roof over your head. We don't need the big TVs. We don't need multiple TVs or, a lot of the stuff, it is not a necessity. They're comforts. So when you're going through changes, if you're in a massive amount of debt and you want to get out of it, you need to look at the things that you have. Are you really using it? Is it really good for you? because if it's costing you money and you're not using it and it's not a necessity, it's dragging you down. So it can be quite difficult. Another thing that I do tell people through is, obviously, first of all, you need to take accountability. Then you need to seek help. You also need to really look at your budget. So I have a budget spreadsheet. I was going to say program, but it's not really a program, but a budget spreadsheet through Excel that people can access online. And I've also got a manual one in the book if people don't have access to Excel. But it's really important to understand everything that you've committed to spending your money on. So I have a huge, extensive list of what people spend their money on, their expenses. And I've broken them down into multiple different categories. But, this is even including buying your lunches out, buying coffees, spending money on subscriptions, TV subscriptions, or streaming subscriptions, all that type of thing. And you need to sort of work out exactly what is working for you, what you need. There is this a little question I like to ask everybody is, what does it take to blow $10,000 a year? And that is spending $27.40 a day on miscellaneous things. And a lot of people just like, I'll buy my coffee, I'll buy lunch, I'll do this, I'll do that. But they're not understanding their cash flow, and they're not really looking at their budget to sort of, what's working and what's not.
So those are some of the spending triggers that we're not aware of. Is that fall in the category?
They do. So spending triggers, they're things that set your emotions high. And it's like, I'm going to go shopping because I'm sad and angry and depressed. You might have an argument with a family friend, or something might not be right at work and it really upsets you. And so you go shopping to buy yourself, some comfort. But when you identify what that trigger is that makes you want to go and spend money, you can write it down and then put a fixer in place. So in my book, I have this little page that you can do all this. It's a lot of fun activities along the way. So you can say, you have a bad day at work. That's a trigger. So you've identified that. So what you can do is put in your fixer. Instead of going shopping, you can go visit a friend, or, go journal, go to your favorite place that you like to go to. And what this does is allows you to identify your trigger, and then you've got a fixer in place. So it's like, okay, I'm triggered, I'm going to do this instead of shopping. So it's just planning out, because we all get triggered, any type of, yeah.
That is why I like to go shopping on my own. I don't like shopping with groups of people. No.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they coerce you to buy stuff that you never want. Oh, it will look nice on you. You need to buy it. Oh, this top that you had, that would look nice with it, And I don't need it. I've already got a button for the top. I've already. So
exactly.
It's true. It's true.
Exactly.
Yes. So
yeah.
So mindful spending, is that the opposite of triggered spending?
It is. So
right.
Mindful spending, it sounds very time consuming, and one thing that I have as well is depression. I deal with depression. And when you're having really bad days, asking someone to do something extra is just like, please don't. However, you do need to work through this. So if you're like me and you're depressed and you're having a really bad day, mindful spending is not a good process for you at that particular moment. Just when you're that down, just don't spend. Okay. But Sorry, I
Okay.
missed that. I couldn't hear that.
What is the definition? How would you one define mindful spending?
Mindful spending, yes. So with mindful spending, you need to ask yourself some questions. So you're putting into practice specific thoughts about your spending. So say you've got, I'm just going to use an example, all right? So say you've got $100 that you're going to spend on clothes. You would ask yourself a few questions. Is this in my budget? And if it is, great. How long did I have to work to pay for this? So that puts an extra notch up on the value of what you're spending your money on. Is this going to increase in value? So if you're, I really believe in sowing and reaping. So when you spend your money on something, is it going to benefit you physically, financially, or mentally? I have a list of so many different questions that you would ask yourself, and just really put into perspective, this money that I'm about to spend, is this the right way to spend this money? Can I be doing something else with it? Do I have a debt that needs to be paid off? Do I have, like you mentioned before, shopping with your friends, and it's like, oh, you've got this top and it'll look really good for you, but you've already got enough tops.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not telling people to, so you can be frugal, but don't be miserly. So, you can still go and buy clothes and everything like that. That's, I'm not saying not to, but you do need to be mindful and really consider, is what I'm about to spend my money on really worth it? Is it a necessity? And you just spend a few moments asking yourself a list of questions, which, as you move forward, like at first, when you start mindful spending, it seems like I'm standing here for 10 minutes trying to work out whether I'm spending my money. But as you work through this process, it becomes second nature. And you'll notice that when you go to spend your money, it's like, okay, do I really need this? No, I don't. No, another day.
Yeah. But I know for me, I like to take a shopping list when I'm going to shop. First of all, I don't forget things. Second thing is that I don't buy things that are already in the cupboard. And then
Yes.
I have
Absolutely.
And things that's not on the list. You start to think, I only have this amount of things that I'm supposed to be coming out here. Do I really need to buy that thing that I have on sale? And you're supposed to buy 3 and you get 4, all that nonsense. Just buy the one, because I'm not going to use the other 3 for now anyhow. It's going to stay there and stay there and stay there. And sometimes you toss it because it gets stale dated and so.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I spoke to in my last podcast as well, because we were talking about here in Australia. I don't know what it's like in America, but here in Australia, there was a statistic recently released that out of the food being thrown out each year, discarded, it costs Australian households between 2,000 to 2,500 a year that they throw food out, and 80% of it is still edible. So if people are spending $250 a week on groceries and they're going to throw out $50 worth of it, that's not a good thing. So like you say, when you go shopping, you write your list, you make sure, what have you got in your cupboard? And don't buy any more. You only need to buy what you're going to use. So I really think it's important as well that if people go through their pantries right now after listening to this podcast, meal prep around what you have. Because, you may have a lot of food there that's just going to waste or going to be out of date soon. And yet a lot of people still go and buy new things all the time. So you're getting more and more stacked up in your pantry and you're not actually using that money wisely. This is, again, mindful spending and sowing and reaping. So if you're spending, say, $200 a week on groceries as a family, but you're not eating all of that, that food needs to nourish your body. But if you're going to throw it out, you're actually sowing into garbage.
But I think there's a saying that said the most expensive food is the one that you waste, you throw out.
Yes.
That's the most expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really true.
So what strategies do you use to create, new healthy spending habits? What strategies do you have in your book that you can share with us
for new spending habits? So obviously I've got a page of a list of questions to ask yourself before you spend your money. Obviously what I do is, with the budget, I break it down. You put in your income, then you put in all your expenses. Now you really need to understand your cash flow. So with the strategies of spending better, it's mindful spending, understanding your cash flow, exactly what you've got. And you also need to really understand what is important and what is necessity for you, not what you think you need. Don't keep up with the Joneses, I call status spending is spending money that you don't have on things you don't need to impress people you don't like. You don't need to do that. It's you look after you that worry about themselves. So, do what's right with you. If you have peer pressure about spending money on things that you can, love your friends and things like that, but just let them know that, for me, I don't need to do that. So there's some of the things I do go into detail quite a bit on creating great healthy spending habits. But the underlying issue on all of those is your mindset. It's really important. You need to, with your mindset, you also need to identify what you believe about money. So, if you grew up believing that money's hard to come by, you'll never own a house, you'll never do this, you'll never do that, it's all too hard. Or sometimes you might grow up and think money comes free from a wall, the ATM machine, and with the tap and go culture, because you look at the ads on TV here in Australia, and so many is like, if you want to go on a holiday, get this cash for this credit card that will help you get to where you want to go. And they're always pushing that debt spending. So show them all up and spend your own money and don't worry about their debt. Just get rid of the debt. You want to control your money. You don't want your money to control you or the banks to control you.
But I have an accounting background. I have a master's in accounting, so I understand some of the things that you're saying. And what I do and what I teach my children to do and my grandchildren to do is make a budget. Because if you have X amount and you spend Y plus X plus 2, you're going to be in debt.
Exactly. So how my budget spreadsheet works is you enter your income, then you enter your expenses. Now, in Australia, a lot of people work on, with the money that you get, you split it into 50, 30, 20%. Okay. That has been going on for 20, 30 years or whatever. But what I have done in my specific budget, which I found was really, really helpful, is once you put your income in, it will automatically split your cash flow into 70% and then 10%, 10%, 10%. And how that money is allocated is 10% is for your nest egg. So 10% of that you just put aside. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm I help you with budgeting and everything like that. But to invest money, you would need to see a reputable financial advisor. But that 10% is for your nest egg. Then 10% is for giving. And 10% is what I call your splash cash. So that's your money. You can go do whatever you want with it. You can go and buy your clothes, you can buy your lunches if you want. You can use that to have a date night or anything like that. So that's your splash cash every week. And 70% is what you have to spend on your expenses, your bills, anything that you want to save up for, like a house deposit, a car, a holiday, you pop all that aside. So when you put in your income and then you put in all your expenses, it will automatically calculate how much each week, fortnight, and monthly, because people get paid different ways, that's 70% that you need to allocate to your bills. And then it will tell you if you're spending more or less. So you need to obviously spend less than your 70%, not more. So then you can, when you do the budget the first time, it's what you're spending now. And then you can revisit your expenses to say, do I really need this? So yes, budgeting is really, really key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have something similar to that. What I do for the year, I budget out and I put like that's taxes that you have to pay, some special taxes that you have to pay. I make sure I put that in. And
Yeah.
I put in birthday presents and stuff like that too, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, to capture everything. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So, yeah, because in all my expenses, I have that Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, you know, holidays, and yeah, you know, your bus fares, trains, motor
Everything.
vehicle, everything that I can think of is in there. I have actually left extra spaces if I have forgotten something, but it is quite an extensive list, and it lets people think about exactly what they're spending their money on as well.
And I saw you brought up subscription. The other day I saw something on my bill and I'm saying I think it was BET. And I'm saying, why am I paying for BET? I don't
Yeah.
get it. So I decided this weekend I'm going to go through all my accounts and see, you know, these little $7 and $30, they add up, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. They really do. And a lot of times with the streamings and subscriptions, they, you know, sign up for 30 days free, and then people sign up and forget about it.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. So what another fun activity to do is get 3 months of your bank statements, because I do tell people to, a lot of businesses reconcile their banks. So I'm not asking everybody to do it that way, but I would like, or I encourage everybody to get their bank statements, get a couple of different colored highlighters, and just highlight things that they know are their bills, their entertainment, their highlight anything that they don't recognize. Because if you do this as soon as your statement comes out, or you check it weekly and everything like that, you can jump on top of it quickly, rather than a year down the track realize you're paying for something that you didn't really want to pay for.
Yeah. I know my account is normally balanced every month. I do that. And I can give you something that happened to me. I got my account and there was like $760 in my account, and I'm like, where on earth did this $760 come from? And I looked at it and I'm like, but this is like, you know, when you get your with somebody's salary, it has a different label to it, like, so you know that it's not a regular deposit. It's like it came through ACH, which is the automated system to deposit money, salaries to account. So I looked at it and I called the bank and I said, this money isn't mine. I don't know where it come from. I just said, well, you know, it has your account number, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I take it out. I don't want it. It's not mine. I just said, okay, we can do reverse. Okay, good.
Yeah.
The following month, another $700 something coming there.
Huh?
So I did my own investigation and I found, they said they cannot tell me the name of the company.
Yes.
You know, they can't tell me, but I did some stuff and I realized it's a particular company and I called them and said, I have somebody's salary that keeps on coming to my account. I reversed out the first one and now there's another there, you know. And
Yes.
she did the investigation and she found out who it belonged to. Apparently it was coming to my account, but somebody else wasn't getting paid. And I'm like,
Oh,
yes. But I was
yeah.
very vigilant because I know I'm not supposed to have that, you know. I'm a salaried, so I know exactly my salary every month, you know.
Yeah.
So that is true. The opposite could have happened also. Somebody could have been pinching my money.
Yes,
Taking it
exactly.
out
No,
too.
that's yeah. Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
interesting. That was interesting. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't realize that if you get funds into your account, although it is an error, you need to give it back. Some people spend it, you know. I
Yes,
said, I
exactly.
said, I said, thank the Lord. I was praying for this, and the Lord sent it to.
Yes. Yes, it's very good to be honest. Absolutely. Because
Yes,
then once they find it, they'll ask for it back. And if you spent it,
you still
yeah.
liable for it. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Beautiful.
interested in this. How can individuals find ways to increase their cash flow without getting another job? How are you going to do that?
Yeah, so some of the things that I talk about, three different things. So you can increase your cash flow from your assets, from your stuff, and from your skills. So with your assets, if you've got any assets, like a spare bedroom, you can rent that out.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you mean.
Yeah. If you've got a car that you don't use, some people rent them out as well. You can do a lot of things. I'm just trying to think because I don't have my book in front of me, which is really bad. But so when you're looking at your assets, your bed, your car, in Australia, if people have boats, they can actually rent their boats out to other people for,
Yes,
the
in Florida
weekend.
we have a lot of boats out there too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, just look at what assets you have in your house that you can create income from. There's Airbnbs. I don't know, like if you have a caravan in the backyard, you could rent that out, that type of thing. So just
Yeah,
your assets.
but it's illegal. The
Oh,
people do,
okay.
but it's illegal.
Yeah, as long as it's legal, we promote legal, okay? Um, with, with your stuff, have a look around the house of what you've got.
Mhm.
Now, a lot of people have clothes in their wardrobe still with
Mhm.
tags on them. They have
Yeah.
never worn. Sell it.
Mhm.
And when you sell it, don't go and spend the money. Go and put it off on your debt.
Right.
Or, if you don't have any debt, great. Um, invest or whatever. So people have clothes that they can sell. If you've got 2 fridges. So when we're talking about our food and eating, you know, not wasting food, I don't think a lot of people need a second fridge. They probably have like a beer fridge or something like that. I don't know. But
I have two
if
fridge.
you have 2 fridge, sorry, but just use what you have. If you're not using it and it's plugged in, it's costing you money. If you have a second car or motorbike or something or boat that you don't use and you're not going to rent them out, it's costing you money in registration and insurance and whatever. So have a look around your house, look at the stuff that you don't
Right.
use that is not of like emotional value. What do you call sentimental value? That you can then sell to increase your cash flow, which will, decrease your debt. Another thing is your skills, and it's sort of like a second job, but We have a thing over here called like Air Tasker where people can go online and I want someone to mow my lawn, or I need a housekeeper.
Yeah, we have that. We have that over here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. So, have a look at the skills that you have. If you're, if you can do tutoring, you can teach music, you can whatever your talent
skill
or
set
skill
is,
yeah. Make that work for you. It doesn't have to be a full-time job. You can, help people build websites, or, just have a look at your skills. If you think, oh, I don't have any skills, that's not true. Everyone has skills. You might just be hard on yourself. So ask your friends and family.
What you're
think
good
about
at.
what
Yeah.
you're
They will
really
tell
good
you.
at, you're really passionate about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be, doing art and making crafty things to sell at the markets.
Right.
Yeah.
So what advice do you give someone who's setting up to the saving? What advice you have about giving setting realistic goals?
Yes. So what I recommend is when you're going through your budget, and that 70% tells you how much to keep each week, fortnight, or monthly. So when you've got a savings goal, say for argument's sake, you want to go on a holiday. So you work out where you want to go, all the costs involved. So you've got your travel, accommodation, spending money. Do you need extra clothing for the weather where you're going to? Are there visas? Are there vaccinations that you need to have? Any medication you need? Calculate exactly how much in total that you need. Then work out the timeline for when that holiday is, or when things need to be paid by, and then break it down into sections. So just throwing something out there, just say if you've got a holiday coming up in 10 months and it's going to be $3,000, then you need to put away $300 a month.
Right.
So you're breaking it down into small chunks. Obviously, some things need to be paid, like your airfares need to be paid before, a lot of the other things and that type of thing. So work out exactly how much you need in total, even with a car. If you're wanting to buy a car, don't look at just the cost of the car. Look at the registration, the insurance, how much fuel you're going to need. If you have a year's costs involved, work out to save all of that. It's not just, the car's going to cost, this much. There's a lot more expenses to a car than just the actual vehicle. So work it out, work out how much time you have and break it down into small chunks.
I'm glad you said that, because my granddaughter recently became a driver, and she was, oh, I need a car, I need a car, I need a car. And I'm like, okay. And she got, one fancy car. So I said, hold on, you remember this thing, doesn't run like on water? It needs gas.
Yes.
It has to be maintained.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's there's so much involved, with that as well. And even tolls and parking that you've got to pay for.
Exactly. These things add up. And you have to get it serviced, because even if it's under warranty still, there are some things that the warranty doesn't cover. It doesn't cover your tire. You have to take out those tires and the brakes and all the rest of stuff that doesn't cover, and those add up,
Absolutely. And when you're going for your first car, you don't need the brand new fancy cars. This is that, like the status spending I was saying before. My first car was a Fiat 128. It looked like, it was white. It looked like a fridge on wheels. It was just square. And it didn't have, like, it was very, very basic. It was secondhand. But, it got me from A to B, and I looked after it. I remember my mum wouldn't let me drive until I learned how to change a tire myself. So I had to learn to do that. But yeah, it's, once you understand what your cash flow is, what you have available to you, then you can work out what vehicle type that you can get. And, you know, you can work towards that really nice car that you want if you don't have the cash flow to do it straight away.
You're talking about young people. These young people, I remember mine was a VW Bug. That was my first car. It cost me $10,000, but I bought it.
Yeah.
But these kids, they don't want anything. They want what they want. They want Mercedes. They want status. As you know, they don't want to. You know, they don't want to start at the bottom. You know.
Yeah. So
anyway.
if they save and they buy what they can afford, they'll be ahead of the rest because, you know, they're not buying in debt. They're buying with their own cash flow, and that's a really good way to be. They're making really good choices early.
Well, the problem is, as I said, these things need to be taught in the school because
they do.
How I achieve whatever I achieve. I said, you need to just save for it. Because what they don't understand is that the interest rate, the interest is taken first before the principal. So you're paying 4 or 5 years, you're paying the interest. You don't touch the principal yet.
Exactly. So, you know, and also buying a car in debt. So a car decreases in value as soon as you drive it off the lot.
As it drives off the lot, it depreciates. You know, you can't set it back. Most of the time, the cars, when the cars are upside down meaning that it values, it you owe more than what the car values.
Absolutely. So, you know, you need to consider these things. Yeah.
Yes. But as I said before, so the holistic approach that you have compared to the financial, the traditional financial approach, what's the difference between these? So
holistically, I start with working out, understanding why you spend the way that you do. So you need to understand your money habits. You need to understand your spending triggers. You need to understand what your mindset is about money. You know, did you, a lot of us didn't learn well. So, and then we need to work on changing that. And then we can start looking at our expenses and our income and how to budget right. Then we can look at our cash flow, how to increase that. And we can look at, this is all the things that I cover in the book, and then looking at ways to pay off your debts quicker using your cash flow. So it's holistically dealing with your mindset, your thoughts, your beliefs, your triggers, your habits, how to change them, how to work through them, and budgeting right. Because I got out of debt just working on the mechanics of budgeting. I was like, okay, so you do this, do this, do this, do this. Great, I'm out of debt. I didn't deal with my mindset. I still had a negative mindset. So within months, I'm back in debt because I didn't deal with the heart and the head. So holistically, my book covers all of it.
Yeah. But, you know, we might be on this journey, but it's not the journey. It's not a straight line when it comes to making the transformation. We're going to have bumps. We're going to fall down. We're going to get our knees bruised.
Absolutely. Yeah. I do say that in my book as well. It's like really, really look after your mindset because your mental health, because that's really important. Going through these changes, it takes time. So you might take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's okay. Yeah. So it is a journey. Just keep going. Just don't give up. That's my. You got this.
So how do you hope budget rights will empower others to take control? What is the expectation from you?
From my book?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love it for people to be set free from the bondage of debt. You know, we're not called to be under have debt control us. We're the head,
The
not
Bible
tail.
doesn't say that. They say that
That's
we are supposed we are supposed to be lending people money. We're supposed to be the ones who are, have the
yes,
wealth. The wealth is not in heaven.
absolutely,
The wealth is right here for us to enjoy.
absolutely. And so what I hope to achieve from this is from someone who's, I've gone through addictions, and I have that addictive nature from, gambling and alcohol, and just also I was addicted to buying clothes at one point. Just, my hope with this book is that they can see there is a way out. They can and they will get out of the debt stronghold.
Right.
And that they can go and educate others. Let's teach everybody how, to manage money correctly, the sowing and reaping correctly, and just really having that freedom to live the life that God led us to be. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any part of it that speaks to persons who are getting ready to go into retirement? Because go ahead.
I think that no, I don't in this book. However, I do have plans for more books.
Yeah, I think you should do something like that, because a lot of people are in retirement just have to come up because they're not managing.
Yeah, it is. That is another avenue. It's not covered in my book. I do say, when you break down your money, your 10% is for your nest egg. And if you're starting later in life, you may think, I won't have much of a nest egg, but you'll be 100% better off than if you did nothing. So I am actually speaking to another lady who's really working towards retirement, and hopefully collectively together we can get another book for that.
What advice would you give someone who is getting ready to start the journey of the transformative journey? What advice?
What I would recommend is, if you journal, definitely journal. Be accountable to someone. Find that one person that you can trust. You don't need to tell them all your financial details, but just have someone that you can check in with, that they can just say, hey, how are you doing? Because it is an emotional process, and it can take a lot out of you. And especially, if you're someone who's really hard on yourself, you really need that extra support of saying, you've got this, you can do this. If you fall down, I'll pick you up. You can come cry on my shoulder. So have somebody that you can talk with. It doesn't have to be a lot of people, just one person that you can have that accountability with, and that they can encourage you to keep going.
Something just came to me, I'm going to ask you, because I'm not quite sure if you addressed it in the book. Do you have any cases where one person is a couple, married couple? So some of them put funds together and all of that stuff. One is a spendthrift and one is a saver. How does that work?
You really need to talk to each other. Absolutely. You need to both be on the same page. So talk together about your budget plan. Check in with each other. If, a married couple do need to be on the same page. I know opposites attract, and you can be your own individual in your marriage as well, but having that truthful conversation, both being on the same page, is like, we need to do this together, and just really support and encourage each other. If you're in the situation where, okay, one's invested and one is just completely not invested in changing. Obviously, have that accountability with somebody, like a counselor or a good, like for wife, if she's got a good girlfriend, or if the husband has a good mate that they can speak to, just for their own personal journey. But, just pray that together, collectively, you will be on the same page, and really commit to making your joint finances work together for you.
Yeah. One of the things I'm thinking about it now. If one is a spendthrift and one is a
spendthrift.
That's, I mean, that person,
Oh.
I mean, yeah, they spend,
Yeah.
they are. I would think they probably should get a account that deals with just the house stuff, things that they have to pay together, and keep your savings separate. I wouldn't be commingling first.
Exact. Yeah, you could do that as well. Absolutely. It's like, okay, the household needs this. So collectively, this goes into the joint account. Otherwise, we've got our own savings accounts, and one can
you just spend
save.
yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's been fun, Carrie-Ann. It's really been fun.
It has.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today. Your story is not just only inspiring, but it's a testament of the power of determination and the right financial mindsets. So we thank you so much for being our guest. Would you tell the listeners how to get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you, and also about how to get your book?
Absolutely. Well, being in Australia, I have a website which is budgetright.com.au. So budget and RIGHT, budgetright.com.au. Now, my book is Budget Right: Eliminate Debt and Improve Your Financial and Mental Wellbeing. And it is available on Amazon, and I have seen it on so many American book websites. So you can get it from there. Being in Australia, though, if you want my Excel spreadsheet, go to my website that I mentioned before, budgetright.com.au. You can go in and purchase the spreadsheet and use the code BR spreadsheet, and that will give it to you for free.
Okay. What you can do is send me an email with all of that, and I'll put it in the podcast notes. Persons who want it, they can. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was totally mine, and it was really fun. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. No worries. Thanks, everybody.